What's up guys, welcome back to Command Point. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at the new Necron Kill Team in the new Kill Team Shadowvaults box. Big time thank you to Games Workshop for sending us this advanced review copy. With that out of the way, let's get into the review.
Alright guys, so to start this review for the new Necron Hierotek Circle Kill Team, I'm going to be taking a look first at their just their army-wide abilities basically. So first up we have Living Metal. So in the ready operative step for each initiative phase, this operative regains up to 2 lost wounds or up to 1 lost wound if it is a Plasma Scythe operative. In addition to that, this team has reanimation protocols. So it says here certain rules can allow friendly operatives to attempt reanimation. The first time each friendly operative is incapacitated, if it attempts reanimation before removing that operative from the kill zone, place one of your reanimation tokens underneath the operative as close as possible to the center of its base and leave its order token next to it. Note that the second time each friendly operative is incapacitated, it cannot attempt reanimation. So you only get to the ability to reanimate once per game per model, basically. So in order to reanimate, in the ready operative step of each turning point after resolving the Living Metal ability, you roll 1d6 for each of your reanimation tokens, and on a 1 or 2, the reanimation token is left in the kill zone, you don't reanimate, and then on a 3-up, an operative is successfully reanimated. So pretty easy to actually bring a model back. And then at least me reading this now, it just says leave that reanimation token in the kill zone. So that means that, you might not reanimate on this turn if you roll a 1 or 2, but that token is still going to be there until the end of the game, basically, until that model does reanimate. And then it says here, when you do reanimate a model, you set up the operative that reanimation token was placed for. It must be as close as possible to that reanimation token and not within engagement range of enemy models. It has D3 wounds remaining, so you don't come back with like full health or anything like that, just a handful of wounds. It has the order of its remaining order token, and you remove the reanimation token. And then if you are playing a narrative game, operatives that are successfully reanimated are not treated as being incapacitated for the purposes of casualty tests unless they are incapacitated again during that battle. So just looking at these two abilities by themselves, I do like them a lot. In terms of like thematically wise, I guess we'll say. The Living Metal allowing you to heal a couple wounds every turn, that's something nice to have. Not a lot of other teams have anything sort of like that, outside of like a medic specialist, basically. And the reanimation protocols, I think, it's good, it's cool, and it does not seem like it's overpowered to me. So next up, we're going to take a look at the tacops for the Hierotek Circle. We're going to first take a look at Unyielding Ancients. So you reveal this tacop in the target reveal step of the first turning point. At the end of the battle, if 3 or more friendly Hierotek Circle operatives, including Plasma Scythe operatives, are within 6 inches of the center of the kill zone and or your opponent's drop zone, you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition and one of these Hierotek operatives is a friendly Cryptek or Apprentek operative, you score 1 VP. Looking at this one, it seems pretty straightforward. The and/or clause in that first bullet point, where you either have to have 3 or more friendly operatives within 6 inches of the center of the kill zone, or your opponent's drop zone, gives this a lot of flexibility. So basically, the way you run this is you're just trying to get 3 operatives in the center of the board. At the end of the game, and you want one of those to be either your Cryptek or your Apprentek operative. It seems pretty straightforward to me. In most of my games, I can see myself taking this. Alright, so next up here we have Unearth Artifice. So this is a tac-up that you reveal in the target reveal step of the first turning point. You place one of your Artifice tokens anywhere in the kill zone that is more than 6 inches from your drop zone and not on a terrain feature unless it has the insignificant trait. That token is earthed. At the end of any turning point before the 4th, if you control the Unearthed Artifice token, you score 1 VP. And at the end of the battle, if you control your Unearthed Artifice token, you score 1 VP as well. It says here, friendly operatives can perform the following mission action: Unearth Artifice for 2 action points. An operative can perform this action while it controls your Earthed Artifice token. That token is unearthed. An operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range of an enemy operative. This one seems even more straightforward than Unyielding Ancients. Seems very, very doable. Very easy to score. You just need to have this Artifice token. It only has to be just outside of 6 inches from your drop zone, unearthed, and have a model on it, and just control it like you would any other objective, I guess. So yeah, this is like an auto take for me if you are going to be running the Hierotek Circle Kill Team. Finally, we come to Worthy of Study. Reveal this TACOP in the target reveal step of the first or second turning point. Select 2 of your opponent's operatives. Your opponent then selects one of them to be worthy of study. If that enemy operative is incapacitated before it is removed from the kill zone, place one of your study tokens as close as possible to the center of its base. At the end of any turning point, if friendly operatives control your study token and a friendly Cryptek or Apprentek operative is within 6 inches of at least one of these friendly operatives, or one of those friendly operatives, you score 1 victory point. And if you achieve the first condition at the end of any subsequent turning points, you score 1 VP. So this one looks to me to be like the least viable of the 3. There's a lot of steps going on here in which you're selecting 2 of your opponents, and then your opponent is choosing which model from between those 2. And then you need to dedicate either a Cryptek or an Apprentek to stay on them, or I guess study them basically, for 2 turns. This puts it in, I guess, like direct conflict with trying to score Unyielding Ancients. So probably in most of my games, I would probably pass on this one from a competitive standpoint, but it's a cool thematic thing, I guess. I guess this kill team is all about hunting down weird organisms, I guess, weird and interesting organisms, and studying them. All right, so now I think would be a good time to talk about the actual Hierotek Circle Kill Team itself. So taking a look here at their archetype, they can take either recon or security secondaries, in addition, of course, to their faction-specific tacops. So the way this team breaks down is you first take 1 Cryptek operative selected from the following list, either a Chronomancer, a Psychomancer, or a Technomancer, and the Chronomancer can either be equipped with an Aeon Stave or an Entropic Lance. And then you also are taking 1 Plasmacyte Accelerator operative and 1 Plasmacyte Reanimator operative. In addition to that, you're taking 5 operatives selected from the list below: Apprentek, Deathmark, Immortal Despotek, equipped with one of the following options: a Gauss Blaster and Bayonet, or a Tesla Carbine and Bayonet. An Immortal Guardian, equipped with one of the following options: a Gauss Blaster, Bayonet, Tesla Carbine, Bayonet. And then other than Deathmark and Immortal Guardian operatives, your kill team can only include each operative above once. Pretty straightforward team. So now let's get into some of these models. We're going to start with the Crypteks. So first off, we will take a look at the Chronomancer. So the Chronomancer has got Movement 3 Circle, APL 3, Defense 3, 3-up save with 11 wounds. So kind of, a little bit tankier than your average kill team model. The Aeon Stave has 5 attacks, hitting on 4s, damage 3/3 with Blast, Circle, Lethal 5-up, and Stun. The Entropic Lance has 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, damage 5/3 with AP1 and Mortal Wounds 3. And then the melee profile for the Aeon Stave is 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3/3 with Lethal 5 Stun. And the Entropic Lance has a melee profile of 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, damage 3/6. The Chronomancer has the Magnification Conduit, so each time this operative makes a shooting attack, if a friendly Apprentek operative has an engage order and is visible to this operative in the select valid target step of that shooting attack, you can treat that friendly Apprentek operative as the active operative for the purposes of determining line of sight. If you do so in the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, you can re-roll any or all of your attack dice results of 1 result. And then it looks like the Cryptek, there are some unique actions available to them. Let me see if the other ones have the same sort of thing. Yeah. So it looks like all 3 of the Crypteks have Cryptek actions. And it looks like they are all unique to them. So there is a lot of options going on here with at least the leadership in this team. So the Cryptek actions are unique actions this operative can perform. When this operative is added to your roster or data slate, it gains 2 Cryptek actions. You select them from the opposite chart here on the data slate. This operative cannot gain the same Cryptek action more than once and cannot perform a Cryptek action it has not gained. Make a note of the Cryptek actions this operative has gained on your roster or data slate. So for the Cryptek actions for the Chronomancer, it has Time Splitter for 1 action point. So you select a friendly operative visible to and within 6 of your Chronomancer, and until the end of the turning point, that operative has an invulnerable save equal to its unmodified save characteristic. So it's just giving out a invuln to whatever the basic save of the particular model is. So that's kind of cool. This Chronomancer also has Counter-Temporal Nanomine for 1 AP. Place one of your Nanomine tokens within 6 of this operative. Each time an enemy operative performs an action in which it moves, if it would move within 6 of that token, subtract 2 from the distance it can move during that action. At the start of the next turning point, remove that token. Finally, we come to the Chronometron for 1 AP. Select a friendly operative visible to and within 6 until the end of the turning point. Add 3 to that operative's movement characteristic. I'm liking this a lot. Each time that operative would lose a wound, roll 1d6. On a 5-up, that wound is not lost. Wow, okay, so I really like that one a lot. You're getting extra movement on a particular model for a turning point, as well as a 5-up feel no pain, basically. I think that one's really, really good. Outside of the Cryptek actions, the Chronomancer has some unique actions as well. Command for 1 AP, you select a friendly Deathmark or Immortal operative visible to within 6 inches of either this operative or a friendly Immortal Apprentek operative. That selected friendly operative can immediately perform a free fight, Overwatch, 1 AP pickup, or 1 AP mission action. This operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range of an enemy operative. So this is really cool. You're basically getting some free actions outside of like the normal action economy of Kill Team, basically. So that's pretty cool. So next up, we're gonna try and get through the Psychomancer. Basically, same stats, same basic stats as the Chronomancer. All of the Crypteks, it looks like, have the same basic stats. But the Psychomancer has a different weapon, the Abyssal Lance. So its range profile is 5 attacks, hitting on 4 is damage 2/2 with AP 2, Blast 2, and Splash 1. So the melee profile on the Abyssal Lance is 3 attacks, hitting on 4 is damage 2/3 with Reap 3. So just like the Chronomancer and the Technomancer as well, the Psychomancer has the Magnification Conduit ability, and the Psychomancer has their own Cryptek actions. The first one is Conjure Trauma for 1 action point. Select an enemy operative visible to this operative. Until the end of the turning point, that operative is treated as being injured regardless of any rules that say it cannot be injured. Very interesting. Next up here we have Nightmare Shroud for 1 AP. Until the end of the turning point, each time an enemy operative within 6 of this operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack in the roll attack dice step of that combat or shooting attack, your opponent cannot re-roll their attack dice and cannot retain attack dice as critical hits. They must be retained as normal hits instead. Harbinger of Despair for 1 AP. Select a point in the kill zone visible to this operative. Treat that point as an intended target that a token can be placed flat upon, and place one of your Despair tokens on that point. Each time an enemy operative would perform a mission action or the pickup action while within 2 inches of that token, 1 additional action point must be subtracted for that enemy operative to perform that action. In addition, when determining control of an objective marker that token is within 2 inches of, treat enemy operative's total APL as being 1 less. Note that this is not a modifier, and at the start of the next turning point, you remove that token. So that, to me, seems like it's the most powerful of the Cryptek actions for the Psychomancer there, the Harbinger of Despair. Um, being able to make your opponent have to pay an additional AP in order to perform any sort of action on an objective or a pickup action or anything of that sort can be pretty powerful. And on a contested objective, say like in the middle of the board or something like that, or on a objective that you know is going to be contested at some point during that turning point, being able to put this on that objective point, making your opponent's models count as having one less APL is just an awesome ability. Next up here, we have the Technomancer. So the Technomancer has the Staff of Light. Its range profile has 6 attacks, hitting on 4s, damage 3/4 with AP 1, pretty solid. And its melee profile is 3 attacks, hitting on 4, damage 3/5 with lethal 5 up. The unique Cryptek actions available for the Technomancer are Canoptic Repair for 1 AP, select one friendly Hierotek Circle operative visible to and within 3 inches of this operative. That friendly operative regains 2d3 lost wounds or d3 lost wounds if it was successfully reanimated during this turning point. So there's a way to get some extra wounds back onto one of your models. The Nanoscarab Repair Swarm for 1 AP. Until the end of the turning point, friendly operatives cannot be injured. In addition, in the ready operative step of the next turning point, friendly operatives regain up to 1 additional lost wound as a result of the Living Metal ability. So instead of going from healing 1 or 2 wounds, you now are healing 2 or 3 wounds with 1 additional wound remaining. Or excuse me, and are reanimated with 1 additional wound remaining. So instead of it being D3 wounds, it's D3 plus 1 wound remaining. Last up here, we have Rites of Reanimation. For 1 AP, this operative can perform the following ability. Once in this turning point, when another friendly operative would be incapacitated for the first time during the battle, if it is visible to and within 6 inches of this operative can use this ability, and if it does so, that friendly operative attempts reanimation. So that seems pretty good to me, an ability that allows you to reanimate outside of the turning point, or outside of the start of the turning point, I guess. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. It's basically like a medic ability, all things considered. So out of the 3 Crypteks, I think they're all probably pretty viable. If I had to go with one, I'm probably leaning towards the Psychomancer just for that Harbinger of Despair ability. It seems like there's a lot of ways in which you can negatively, I guess, interact with your opponent's models with the Psychomancer's Cryptek actions, basically negating critical hits and not allowing them to reroll attack dice with Nightmare Shroud. The Conjure Trauma thing, just worsening an enemy opponent's model, or just worsening an enemy model's just like life, basically, just making them worse. And then the Harbinger of Despair with that potential for helping you secure objectives outside of where you normally would not seems pretty powerful to me. Now that being said, I do want to mention that the Kill Team Shadowvaults box set does only come with the sprue to build the Technomancer. It does not include the Chronomancer or the Psychomancer. Those are models that you can get outside of the box set. So if you're thinking of picking up this team with the intention of running it at tournaments, I would suggest picking up those models. All right, moving on now, we have the Plasmacyte Accelerator. This is a model with 3 circle movement, APL 2, defense 2, 5 up save, and 5 wounds. It does have weapons. Its range profile is Spark for 4 attacks, ballistic skill 4 up, damage 2/3 with range 3. And it has claws for its melee profile, 3 attacks, hitting on 5s, damage 1/2. This model has the Scuttler ability, or Scuttler, I guess I should say. While this operative has a conceal order, it is always treated as having a conceal order regardless of any other rules. This operative can perform the fallback action for one less action point to a minimum of 0, and this operative cannot be equipped with equipment. For unique actions, it has Accelerate. Makes sense, it's an Accelerator. For 1 AP, you select a friendly Deathmark or Immortal operative visible to and within 3 of this operative. Add 1 to its APL. So that is the primary purpose of this model. It's not to actually use its weapons and fight or anything. It is to buff the other models in this kill team. Next up, we have the Plasmacyte Reanimator. Once again, this has the same basic stat line as the Accelerator. Same weapons, it looks like. It does have the Reanimation Beam. So once per turning point, when another friendly operative would be incapacitated for the first time during the battle, if it is within 6 inches of this operative can use this ability. If it does so, subtract 1 from this operative's APL, and that friendly operative attempts reanimation. So a whole lot of reanimating going on here with this team, from the Technomancer to the Reanimator, and just the reanimation protocols. I would expect models to be coming back often. I don't know how it's going to play on the tabletop without like having any experience actually running these models yet. It could be pretty powerful. It could be a problem, but the way that you're coming back with only a maximum of D3 plus 1 wounds, and this is a kill team that only has 8 models, I think. I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem. It's just kind of their shtick. Next up here, we have the Apprentek. He's got movement 3, APL 2, defense 3 with a 3-up save and 10 wounds. He has got the Arcane Conduit, which is a range profile of 4 attacks hitting on 4s, damage 3, 4, and AP 1, and a melee profile of 3 attacks hitting on 4s, damage 3, 5. He has the Magnification Conduit ability that all 3 of the Crypteks share. And he has, for his unique action, Apprentek Assistance for 1 AP. Perform a free Cryptek action with this operative that a friendly Cryptek operative from your kill team has gained, but has not performed during this turning point. That Cryptek action cannot be performed by friendly operatives again during this turning point. This operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range of an enemy operative. So, makes sense. He is the apprentice to the master Cryptek, so it makes sense that he would be having, they'd be sharing the same abilities. So the fact that every Cryptek can only take up to 2 actions, or excuse me, yeah, up to 2 Cryptek actions on your roster or data slate or whatever it is. And the way that the Apprentek Assistance is worded means that if you're going to cast one of these, I guess, if you're going to do one of these Cryptek actions using the Apprentek, you're not going to be able to do that same action on your actual Cryptek, which I guess is okay because it costs 1 AP to do any of the Cryptek actions, and the Crypteks themselves are only 3 APL, so realistically, if you want to move, dash, do a Cryptek action, or if you want to move, attack, and do a Cryptek action, you're probably only realistically going to be doing 1 Cryptek action per model anyway, so I think overall that's a pretty good ability. Next up here we have the Deathmarks. Deathmarks have only a movement of 2 circle, APL 2, defense 3 with a 3-up save and 10 wounds. They have the Synaptic Disintegrator, which is a 4 attacks, hitting on 2s, damage 4/4 with AP 1 heavy and mortal wounds 1. They also have fists, it's 3/3, 3/4, and living metal. No sort of like special abilities or anything, unfortunately. I think, if I had to guess, yeah, it looks like all the special abilities are pretty much tied up in those accelerators, the Apprentek, and those 3 different variants of the Cryptek. So this is going to be a team where you kind of want to pretty much keep all of your models as close as you can to, those 2 Crypteks. Just so you can really like buff their shooting, I guess. So next up we have the Immortal Despotek. He's got 2 circle movement, APL 2, defense 3 with a 3-up save, and 10 wounds. You can either take the Gauss Blaster, which is a 4-attack weapon, hitting on 3s, damage 4/5 with AP 1, or you can take the Tesla Carbine, which is a 5-attack weapon, hitting on 3s, damage 3/3 with Splash 1, and he has a bayonet, attack 4, ballistics, or excuse me, weapon skill 3-up, damage 3/4. He's also got Demand as a unique action for 1 AP. Select one friendly Deathmark or Immortal operative to and within, visible to and within 6 inches of this operative. When the selected friendly operative is fighting in combat, making a shooting attack, or a shooting attack is being made against it, you can use the command reroll tactical ploy without spending without spending any command points. So yeah, once again, you don't really want to spread out with this team. You kind of want everybody to keep within like 6 inches of each other, it seems like, or like thereabouts. Lastly, we have the Immortal Guardian, 2 circle move, APL 2, GA1, so that's good for the troops. All the troops here have GA1. Defense 3 with a 3-up save, and 10 wounds. They can either take the Gauss Blaster or the Tesla Carbine, which both of them share the same profile as the Immortal Despotek. So the Despotek isn't really like a Space Marine Sergeant or anything. He's not any better at shooting. He's just kind of there to help buff your Immortals and your Deathmarks. Yeah, so this team, it looks to me like they're going to be obviously a slower moving team. Their Deathmarks and the Immortals are all only moving at 2 circle speed. They are all pretty tanky with a 3-up save and 10 wounds apiece. It looks like they do have some pretty decent shooting in the Immortals with the Gauss Blasters, and in the Deathmarks with the Synaptic Disintegrators, and then the Crypteks are really what make this team, which is super interesting. This is a team that I'm excited to experiment with. Let's go ahead and take a look at their equipment. So they have phase oculars for the Deathmarks for 2 equipment points. Okay, so this is a piece of equipment that costs an action point in order to actually use. So you select one enemy operative until the end of the turning point. Each time this operative makes a shooting attack with a Synaptic Disintegrator against that enemy operative, at the end of the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, if you did not retain any critical hits, you can change one of your retained successful normal hits to a critical hit instead, resolving the mortal wound X critical rule accordingly. So you're basically sacrificing one of your 2 APL on a Deathmark in order to guarantee a critical hit. I think that's okay. Next up, we have the Hyperphase Blade for 2 equipment points for Immortal operatives only. You select one bayonet the operative is equipped with, and it gains lethal 5. Next is the Tesla Weave for 2 equipment points. Each time an enemy operative finishes a charge action within engagement range of this operative, roll 3d6, and for each result of 5 up, that enemy operative suffers 1 mortal wound. So this one I think could actually be useful. You're only gonna, you're not gonna be doing that much, but at least you're gonna be punishing your opponent for charging you. If you're gonna be taking the Unyielding Ancients, your opponent's going to want to get you off the center point anyways, so maybe that's something you could do just to punish them a little bit. If you got 2 equipment points, why not? Next up, we have the Arc Shock Projector. So for 1 EP, Immortal Operative equipped with a Tesla Carbine, they gain the following ability. They have to be equipped with a Tesla Carbine only. Each time this operative makes a shooting attack with a Tesla Carbine, for that shooting attack, for the purposes of the Splash X critical hit rule, inflict mortal wounds on the target and each other operative visible to and within 3 inches of it instead of circle. Next is the Plane Shifter for 3 equipment points. You can only take one of these, and it has to be on a Cryptek. Or excuse me, did I say Plane Shifter? I think it's a Phase Shifter. This operative has a 4-up invulnerable save. That right there is enough for me. I think that's an auto take. Um, Next is Devourer Nanoscarabs. For 3 equipment points, the operative is equipped with the following ranged weapon for the battle: Devourer Nanoscarabs. 4 attacks hitting on 3s, damage 3, 4, range 6, indirect, lethal 5, and limited. So it's kind of like a Necron grenade, but instead of throwing a grenade, you're throwing a cloud of nanoscarabs at somebody. All right, so here's something that I think is going to be interesting: the Quantum Reanimites for 3 equipment points. You can only take one of these, and the operative gains the following ability for the battle. While a friendly operative is within 3 inches of this operative, each time that operative would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, roll 1d6, and on a 4-up, that wound is not lost. Yeah, I think this is probably going to be an auto take as well. You do have to be within 3 inches in order to benefit from this, but I think it's worth it. You know, we're talking about that the immovable ancients or the undomitable ancients or whatever tack up that is. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting the name of it. But you know, you have to put 3 models in the center of the board. You want to keep them all for alive for as long as possible. So I think having this on one of those 3 models you're planning on putting in the middle of the board in order to score that is going to be pretty good. You get a 4-up, feel no pain. That's nice. It's nice to have. Finally, guys, we are going to go ahead now and take a look at their ploys. So starting off with these strategic ploys, we have Relentless Onslaught for 1 CP. Until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly operative makes a shooting attack against a target within 6 inches of it, in the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, you can re-roll one of your attack dice. This strategic ploy has no effect on shooting attacks made using the Magnification Conduit ability. So you get a free reroll on everybody shooting this turn. Pretty solid, pretty solid. Next we have Intractable March for 1 CP. Until the end of the turning point, while a friendly Deathmark or Immortal operative has an engage order, you add a circle of movement to its movement characteristics. So I love that. You know, I was just talking about earlier how this team seems like it's going to be a slower team that you want to keep closer together. Using this to get an extra, 2 inches of movement, I think that's great. The issue is that you're sacrificing 1 CP to get your models to move at the same movement speed as like most other teams. So I don't know how much of a, I guess, like buff this would be, as opposed to I'm just thinking like at the start of every game, like turning point 1, I'm gonna be using this. Honestly, I might be trying to use this every single turning point, and if that's the case, then I just have to plan on being down 1 CP pretty much every turn. Next up, we have Undying Androids for 1 CP. Until the end of the turning point, each time a shooting attack is made against a friendly operative that is not in cover in the roll defense dice step of that shooting attack, before rolling your defense dice, you can retain 1 as a successful normal save without rolling it. So once again, leading into kind of like their tanky, hard to kill nature of this team. Finally, we have Dimensional Concealment for 1 CP. Until the end of the turning point, friendly Deathmark operatives can perform the following action: Dimensional Concealment for 1 AP. You can change this operative's order. And then it says that you can only use this strategic ploy once. So that one right there seems pretty crazy. It's probably a good thing that you can only use this strategic ploy once. It's a pretty crazy ability by itself. So yeah, seems like that'd be pretty good. Next up, we have got the tactical ploys here for the Hierotek Circle. First up is Dimensional Translocation for 1 CP. Use this tactical ploy in the Setup Operative step. When you would set up operatives, select 1 friendly Deathmark operative to be set up in a hyperspace dimension instead. In the firefight phase of the first turning point, that operative is considered to be within the kill zone for activation purposes and must be activated as normal. And when it is, you set it up with an order of your choice anywhere in the kill zone that is more than 6 inches from the enemy drop zone and enemy operatives. That operative is treated as having performed a normal move action, and then continue its activation as normal. You can only use this tactical ploy once. I would hope so. That seems pretty. It seems pretty cute. I don't know if it's going to be like game game defining or like kill team or yeah, like faction defining, but that's a cool thing that you can do. Next is Leech Power for 1 CP. Use this tac ploy when a friendly Cryptek operative is activated. Select one other friendly Hierotek Circle operative within two circle of that Cryptek operative. If that other friendly operative's APL is not negatively modified in total after applying all modifiers, subtract 1 from its APL and add 1 to that Cryptek operative's APL. Oh, okay. So you're basically siphoning APL from the models around your Cryptek in order to give them, in order to just like further empower them. So that can get really crazy, I think. Cortical Subjugation for 1 CP. Use this tactical ploy when a friendly Cryptek operative is selected as the target of a shooting attack. Select one other friendly operative that is visible to and within a circle of that friendly Cryptek operative and is not within engagement range of an enemy operative. Resolve that shooting attack against that other friendly operative instead. It is treated as a valid target. I love this so much. I love, love, love this tactical ploy. This entire team, it feels like it's not a team. You're not playing a team. You are playing a Cryptek and his automatons who are just there to either give him more power, buff him up, or sacrifice themselves in order to protect him. So that is really cool. I'm really liking the play style of this team. Seems like it's a lot of fun. Here we go with Commence Reanimation for 1 CP. Uses tactical ploy when a friendly operative is incapacitated for the first time during the battle. That operative attempts reanimation. So, I mean, when I first read the army-wide abilities for this kill team at the start of this video, you know, it seemed like okay, you can only it's a very limited window in which reanimation protocols is going to occur. And when and its effect is good, it's good, but it's not crazy. With this tactical ploy, with the other abilities I mentioned before on the data sheets for some of these models that allow reanimation to occur, I think it's pretty safe to say that it's not just like a cute little thing. It's like it's not just like the shtick. I think overall the ability is going to be pretty good. I think it can be pretty clutch when it comes to things like bringing back models that were previously helping to control objectives. It seems like this team is going to have a pretty reactionary play style, which I enjoy. So yeah, I'm liking these. I'm liking the Hierotek Circle so far, guys. So I believe that covers everything, at least at a basic level, outside of the spec ops and the rare equipment stuff for the narrative campaigns and stuff for the Hierotek circles. I'm excited to get these guys built and painted up and on the board in my games of Kill Team. I want to know what you guys think of this Kill Team in the comments below. Do you think the reanimation protocol thing is going to be crazy and like game warping? Meta warping maybe in the competitive scene? Personally, I don't think so, but I think it is a pretty cool ability. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. Thank you guys all for watching, and a special thank you to, of course, our Patreon supporters as well as our YouTube members for helping to support the channel and produce videos like this. And of course, I do want to give Games Workshop another shout out at the end of this video for sending me and Shane this advanced review copy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to tune in for part 2, where I review the Kasserkin Kill Team, you can find that link in the description of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you again in the next one.